Good evening, guys. Welcome to another session of the WBSU BSc Zoology channel. Now we were discussing about arthropoda. Now under this arthropoda, we have read about the Trilobitomorpha. Then we have read about the Chelicerata. Under Chelicerata, we have read about the Merostomata. Now the second class which comes under Chelicerata is the Arachnida. Now in this Arachnida, we would read about the characteristic features of Arachnida. The first of which is earliest members were marine, but later they shifted to the lands. Now make it clear that in case of the Merostomata, all the species are marine. In this case, they were marine and they shifted to the lands in the later halves, and now all of them are, you can say, terrestrial. Nearly half of the species are spiders and remaining are the mites and ticks. So you can say that the half of the species of arachnids, 50% are spiders, and then the rest are mites and ticks, mostly the microscopic mites and ticks. As the other members, the head and thorax are covered by an unjointed covering called the carapace, composed of the single double sclerae. Yeah, you can say that the carapace is made up of single doubles or double sclerae, and the fused portion is called the prosoma. The anterior most appendage is called the chelicera, which generally tears apart the food particles. You have read about it, that it tears apart the food particles. Now then, next point which comes to the point here is that the next pair of this cephalothoracic region is called the pedipalps, which are variously modified for grabbing, killing, and reproduction. The four pairs of walking legs are followed by the pedipalps. Again, you have read there are pedipalp. The basal segment of the pedipalps are called maxilla. In that case, we read about the gnathobase. The maxilla are the modifications of gnathobase, which are also known as the endites, and helps in the mechanical processing of the food. Now we move on to the next point. The upper segment of the prosoma and the lower segment of the opistoma are connected by a small region of contact called the pedicel. Now there is a thread-like structure which connects the prosoma and the opistoma and is known as the pedicel. It's quite thread-like or teeny-like needle-like organization, and it's called pedicel. Reproduction generally takes place by book-gill. Now in short question it can be asked, it has already been asked in 2012 in WBSU and many years of Calcutta University, that reproduction is generally by book-gills in which of the following classes? It should be arachnida, and trachea respiratory openings called spiracles are present in the abdomen, which are closed between breaths to prevent water. The small abdominal appendages called the spinnerets are present in few arachnids. This spinnerets comprises of spigots. These spigots have glandular cells which have the silk proteins for the silk protein secretion, and individual spider has 7 or more silk glands that have distinct functions, unlike those of the centipedes and larval insects having single cell glands. They have single cell glands in case of centipedes, we would read in the later half, and the larval insect, they have 7 or 8, and these larval insects have 1. But in case of the arachnids, it's 7 or 8, or in case of the spiders, it's 7 or 8. The class includes mites and ticks also, as mentioned earlier, which may be colonial and may or may not bear silk glands, but are of highly medical importance because they are involved in the various types of allergies. Now we move on to the next class, which is Pycnogonida. In some case, it's also known as the Pentapoda. Now here again, in case of Pentapoda, we have seen that the Merostomata rose from the marine ground, then the Arachnida also rose from the marine ground, but they later shifted to the terrestrial, and most are terrestrial or aerials. And now the Pycnogonids are again back to the seas, they are all marine. Prosoma covered most of part of the body. Opistoma is generally reduced, it's just like a stump. You may consider a huge ball and a small ball. In that case, it's greatly reduced. Fossil records head back 500 million years ago. Oh, that's long. That's quite long. 500 million years ago. No specific respiratory or excretory system present, but a digestive system is present, which begins at the proboscis. Now, in this case, a digestive system is present, which begins at the proboscis. The proboscis is generally a proboscis. You know that it's a anterior structure which is generally involved in sucking mechanism in different types of insects. Generally, four pairs of walking legs are present, but in some species they may vary up to 5 or 6. The head bears a posterior pair of legs, the ovigetures, which groom the walking legs, and the trunk, and the males use them to carry the fertilized egg. The head portion again bears a different types of modified structure, a leg which is known as the ovigetures, and these ovigetures groom the walking legs and the trunk. They both groom the walking legs and the trunk, and the males use them to carry the fertilized eggs by the females. Now you can see a different types of behavior which is shown by these males, that they carry the eggs of the fertilized females. The females they fertilize. The female eggs that they fertilize, I'm sorry for that mistake, female eggs that they fertilize, and then the males generally carry these fertilized eggs to different parts of their habitats. The body growth occurs continuously even during intermol periods. This is just an exception. Now during intermol periods the body continues to grow. There are different types of molting periods, but in those molting periods too the body continues to grow. The adults are free living, undeveloped larvae coming out earlier than the exact time and generally parasitic or nidarians. Now the larval forms generally come out during the undeveloped forms. As the undeveloped form, the adult free living beings arise in this case, and they are parasitic on the nidarians, small or big, you can see. So thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe if you are new viewer. Please subscribe to this video and like our video. Drop your comments, that would help us to improve. Thank you. Keep watching.